Hi, it's Victor Cheng with CaseInterview.com, and today I'll be talking about how do you prepare for quantitative assessments used by consulting firms. So all these firms want to test two things: your ability to do math computations, because we do a lot of that in consulting, and your ability to read graphs, charts, and tables, right? Sort of visual representations of quantitative information. They want to be able to make sure that you can understand and interpret those. Okay? So the way they do this evolves a little bit every year, right? So sometimes they have a math test of some sort. Other times they have an online game. So you'll hear different words every season because they kind of do it a little bit differently every time. But what doesn't change is the underlying skill that they're trying to measure and how to practice and develop those underlying skills. Okay? So no matter if it's a math test, an online test, an online game that's quantitatively oriented, the skill and the preparation process is the same. Okay? So 2 skills. Practice your math computations. Basic, straightforward math, things you've probably learned in middle school. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, mental math. You do need to be fairly comfortable doing that, particularly with large numbers. A great and free resource to practice is my online math training system. It's called caseinterviewmath.com. Again, it's free at caseinterviewmath.com. It has 2 components. The first is basically math flashcards, right? The things you and I used in school to practice being really fast at math computations mentally. The second component, which is unusual, is practicing math with large numbers, and in particular, rounding and estimating your numbers. We do this a lot in consulting. And so again, all free, highly encourage you to check it out, caseinterviewmath.com. The other skill that is tested by these quantitative assessments is, can you interpret and read data? If it's in a chart, in an Excel spreadsheet, or a data table, can you read the numbers and notice what's interesting or unusual about the data you've been presented? If you see a bar chart or a line chart or a scatter plot, can you understand what this chart is representing and visualizing and draw the correct conclusions from that? So a lot of these tests will evaluate those different skills. A great and simple way to practice is to get some kind of practice book for a standardized test, in particular the GMAT or the GRE. Right? GMAT is the standardized test people are asked to take before applying to business schools, and GRE is the test people take before applying to graduate schools. And both of those exams have a component, I forget the exact term they use, but it's basically a data interpretation, right? Lots of charts, and they ask you questions related to the chart. That's basically what we do a lot in consulting. We create the charts, and then we read other people's charts and draw inferences from them. So those are some practice resources to practice that particular skill set. So those 2 things: practice your mental math, particularly math with larger numbers, including estimations and rounding, and then practice reading quantitative data in both visual and numerical formats, and be able to answer questions about that, intelligently. So those are my suggestions for practicing for the quantitative assessments from these various firms. Hope you put them to use, and good luck on your recruiting process. Thanks, and have a great day. For more information on management consulting and how to get a job in management consulting, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll be notified of when new videos are released. In upcoming videos, I'll focus on getting management consulting job interviews, preparing for the interview, and getting the job offer. You can subscribe by clicking the button below. You also want to visit my website at caseinterview.com to get my free case interview preparation program. You'll get instant access to preparation videos, case interview frameworks, and the largest collection of management consulting interview training resources available anywhere. Finally, please leave a comment on my video. I'd love to know what you think, what you learned, and if you have any additional questions that I might not have covered in enough detail. I'll use these comments as input for future videos. Thanks, and have a great day.